The perfect relationship. Now, most of us raised on planet Earth instantly go to friendship or romantic relationships. That ain't what we're talking about. Because the truth is, we relate to everything all the time. Especially that category of, I just cannot relate to that. Really? Because you just did. It's right there in that same neighborhood with, you can ask an audience for people to raise their hand that talk to themselves, and invariably one or two people will not raise their hands. And then it's, well, did you not just say, I don't talk to myself? Just saying, we're way more alike than we're different. The perfect relationship is the relationship with the divine, with our Creator, and with one another, and with our planet, and with ourselves. And all too often, we make it about another person. And we think our relationships are only as good as the feedback we get in that communication with another person. Now, what I want to offer you to consider is the feedback you're getting from that other person is your consciousness. It would be really easy if it was about them. Because then you could just pick a different them, problem solved. That's not what's happening. We are always creating our own experience from our own consciousness. Now, if that's true, which I know it is, always is pretty inclusive. Would you agree? So there's no room in always where sometimes it's your fault. I want it to be. Oh, do I want it to be? See, because then I don't have to do anything with it. And the truth of the matter is, our consciousness is causal. It doesn't cause you to do anything. My consciousness causes me to do things. It causes me to experience things. It causes me to react from an unfiltered place versus taking responsibility to be conscious and respond. No matter what someone else does, I am responsible for how I respond. And in this beautiful thing called oneness, what's true of me is true of you. You're welcome. I'll read you a couple of quotes, because it's pretty amazing how these concepts cross centuries and different lines of thought. In the Course in Miracles, it says, the holiest of all the spots on earth is where an ancient hatred has become a present love. How we respond is up to us. We can continue the hatred, or we can be about this thing called transformation. True transformation You have to consult the caterpillar, not the butterfly. See, we all want to be the butterfly, but we forget that in order to be the butterfly, first we have to be the caterpillar. And the caterpillar literally becomes unrecognizable in the transformation process. So if you really want to transform, understand that the you know today must become unrecognizable to truly transform. That's what we're talking about when we say living in the mystery. Because you know your caterpillarness. You know. You know when you're acting like a butterfly and you're really a caterpillar. We all know. We ain't gonna lie to each other. You don't have to tell me the details. I'm not telling you my details. But we know. And most of us really want to be the butterfly. But we don't want to be the caterpillar. And I don't blame you. Caterpillar rolls itself up really tightly in a dark cocoon where it cannot see a thing. And then it literally dissolves into a gelatinous goo that is quite indefinable, all on the trust of a promise that if it will surrender to the transformation, it will emerge as a butterfly. Now that's living in a mystery. I am about the business of being the caterpillar over and over and over with everything that comes up in my consciousness that needs to be transformed. Where do these things show up? In relationships. In my relationships with other vehicles in traffic, they show up frequently. I ain't judging, I'm just saying. In the Bible, in the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus is teaching and he talks about turning the other cheek. And what that's about is not returning. If somebody whacks you, you don't whack them back. You turn the other cheek. Now there's a lot of things we can study even deeper in that, because part of it is in the times it was permissible to slap someone with an open hand, but not with a backhand. So if you slap me with an open hand and I turn the other cheek, I put you in the position to dishonor yourself. Things are not always as they appear. Socrates, even though at the end of his trial and throughout, everybody knew he was being railroaded. Everybody knew it. And here's what he says. One should never do wrong in return, nor mistreat any man, no matter how one has been mistreated by him. So even in the face of death, we have this teaching to return love instead of what we got necessarily. Ernest Holmes says it this way. If one sees only unlovingness in others, it is because unlovingness is a strong element in himself or herself. The light we throw on others is generated in our own soul and sees them as we choose to see them. I see in you what is in me. Now, that applies to the positive too. So those people that you see, that you are amazed by, that is in you. You can't see it in them if it's not in you. Because you are the frame of reference for everything you see. That's the oneness of creation. We're seeing ourselves in a different container. So when you see something in another container that makes you irritated at the face of God, embrace yourself. Turn your relationship inward. Where is that in me? And let go of the behavior. What are you feeling from that behavior? Because it's real easy to get stuck in the behavior of other people. And if that's as far as we go, we miss the gift. And what did you feel? If somebody lied to you, lying is the behavior. What did you feel when you got lied to? And then you look at, where am I creating that feeling inside of myself? And it may be that you're lying to yourself. On occasion, we kind of, sort of, maybe some of us might do that on a really bad day. I pretty much think at some point I do that 7 days a week at some point. You know, it isn't intentional, it's habit. And we have a lot of habit energy. Relationships, you can Google relationships, and oh my goodness, you will get tons of advice. I recommend throwing most of it away. Because they say the perfect relationship is not possible. If you Google the perfect relationship, most everything comes up and it starts with, many people want the perfect relationship. This isn't even possible, but here's what is possible. It is possible because you were born with it. Not only is it possible, it's happening. Our relationship with creation can't be anything less than perfect. Because for it to be less than perfect is to say that some element in creation is flawed. Where is it? I'll wait for you to go find it. Creation is never flawed. We disconnect from its perfection. We buy into the lies of socialization. And even that is part of the perfect human process. So I'll offer you these. The perfect relationship is always with you first. And so if you want to be non-judgmental with other people, stop judging yourself. And it would be really easy if I could just go, stop it. And it was all done. It won't work that way. Because we have to find the roots of what the message is underneath. That somehow we've bought into the lie that we're less worthy and deserve to be judged. Okay. So there's your caterpillar. Get to know your caterpillar. Have discussions, not fights. And again, I'm talking about with yourself. Okay. How many of us are so quick to go to, that was really stupid. What are you thinking? Rather than, you might want to consider this instead of this. What's your internal dialogue? Is it fight or is it discussion? I invite you to discuss with yourself. Ask yourself questions. You know, I noticed that didn't work out the way I thought it was going to work out. What was I actually thinking? Sometimes I find out that I just wasn't. Wasn't that I was thinking anything in particular, I just forgot to think. And when we can be gentle with ourselves, we can do it differently. Mutual support. Create a relationship where your outside is supporting your inside and your inside is supporting your outside. Get in alignment with yourself before you try to get in alignment with other people. Intimacy. Most of us hear the word intimacy and we think sex. That's not what I'm talking about. I want you to reframe intimacy as into me I see. Into me I see. Take a look in there. Who are you really? Who is in there just itching to get out? And you're scared to death to risk the vulnerability to meet that person, much less to let that person be seen by someone else. And that'll take you to all the fears that you're holding on to. There's a lot of work available to us. Trust. Trust is earned. And so you have to have a spiritual practice. And your spiritual practice isn't about anybody else. It's about you, getting to know you. You falling in love with you. You communing with you. And as you do that, and you take some risks, you build some trust with that inner self and the outer self. They begin to, okay, I can depend on you. Okay. Understand compromise does not mean you're giving up. Most of us think that compromise means we lose something. Think about compromise as coming to the middle to gain for both sides. Okay? Bridges are built through compromise. Otherwise, you have this side, and well, good luck getting across. There has to be a middle. The middle is the compromise. We tend to look at what we're sacrificing instead of what we're gaining. Shift your perspective. And the final thing, understand that you have a past. Learn from it. You're never going to hear me say, let go of your story with a categorical let go of your story. Because if we all let go of our story, who are we? I have a history. I have a past. I have experiences that have made me who I am. Pull the gift forward. Leave the events where they are. Okay? There is not a thing I've done in the past or participated in the past or that happened in the past that can even remotely possibly happen again. Because then it would be now and it wouldn't be that. It can be similar, but the past cannot recreate itself. So when you're thinking your past is showing up again, it's not. You are creating a whole new episode that looks like it. Might even be the same actors. Usually we pick different actors. We're not even good at sequels and prequels because we pick the same plot with all new people. Maybe it's just me. I don't think it is. Cherish your past. Love it for the gifts that it gave you and honor it by living the wisdom that came from your past instead of trying to change it by recreating it. Because you can't. Let that lie go. Let it go. Become the caterpillar. We are beginning a relationship. We actually began a relationship the moment I submitted the paperwork. Actually, the moment I knew it was open. You just didn't know the relationship was happening at that point. Okay. We're going to have conflict. Yay! Because Because conflict is creative. You don't believe it? Ask anyone who's ever given birth. Seriously. Women get it. Conflict is creative. You cannot get pregnant, have a baby without going through some conflict. Conflict is not a bad thing. We're going to have some. Let's stay in the discussion. Let's look for the compromise. Let's learn who each other really is and engage from that place of love. Because I'm here to tell you, ain't no part of me here to change any part of you. That's not my job. That's your job. My job is to present information that makes you think, that makes you question. The answers are already in you. I don't need to give you answers. My job is to give you questions to find those answers. I don't have any answers for anybody. Just want to be clear about that right up front. I am not your guru. I have a sign in my office at home. I'm in the process of duplicating from my office here that says, if I am the greatest authority I have, the situation is already way worse than I thought. So, if I am the greatest authority you have, we'll all hold you in prayer. Because you don't need it. I'm not the authority on your life, you are. But what I do have is the skills and the heart to help you learn that. To help you build the confidence to be the amazing you that you are. And you may not even know that yet. That's what I know about you. I know unequivocally that you are amazing in ways you have never even imagined. And when you tap into that, oh my God, there will be no denying it ever again. That's what I want to celebrate with every one of you. That's what I want to celebrate as this center. It's what I want to celebrate as the whole community of Grass Valley. This is bigger than us. And clearly we need a bigger space. Either that or we have to reshift back to intimacy and everybody sit in each other's laps. I love you. I am honored. Just honored beyond words. So let's take this message into prayer. How good it is. How good it is to know that I am in the company of the one, the infinite, the all in all, that singular source of creation that creates out of itself, by itself, to be itself. That is the oneness which is in us, in which we are in. Each one an exquisite individualized expression of that divinity, of that creation. And because we come out of it and live within it, all that it is must be in us and around us all the time. It can be no other way. And so in this moment I speak my word, which is the word of the one speaking through this physical being, claiming and affirming, demanding that the evidence of oneness be the order of each life in this room and beyond. That we each lean into that commitment that says, I got you. I got you in this process, in this physical journey. That we learn to love at a level that blows our own minds. That peace is who we become. And then it's who we be. That we put our relationship with the divine first, knowing that that is the relationship we will have with everyone and everything outside of our physical being. Grateful for this opportunity to be of service, to be that hollow bone of spirit, to be used and used and used again. Grateful for the truth of the Word, the truth of oneness, the truth of creation, the truth of the way the law works, that there is no waiting period. That just as quickly as it is spoken in voice, it's done. And we trust that. And so it is in this gratitude that I release my word, knowing that it's done complete, done perfectly, and done immediately. I let go, I let it be. And so it is.
So it is.